Hi there, and welcome to our lesson on time. What is time, and where did it start? I don't know. For as long as I know, there's always been time. Time has to be measured. How do we measure time? We can measure time in something called centuries. A century is 100 years. We can measure time in something called decades. A decade is 10 years. We can measure time in something called years. A year has 12 months. We can measure time in each year in seasons. Every year has 4 seasons. We also see days counted out on a yearly calendar for each month. And here, clear for you to see, are the names of the 12 months included in each year. Over here, you'll see the month of May. As you can see in the month of May here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks. And then 1, 2, 3 extra days. So we can clearly see there's 4 to 5 weeks in each month. Here are the days of each week, and this indicates the hours in each day. There are 24 hours in a day. If you carefully look on the inside of this clock, you will see that it's marked 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 on the outside rim, and on the inside it continues to count up to 24 for when you want to read the clock in digital time. Over here, you will see that I included a second hand on this clock. There are 60 minutes in an hour, and there are 60 seconds in each minute. And that's one of the smaller units to measure time in. But that's just something to make you more curious about time, and it's not really everything that I've told you. So please go ahead and go and study all the different ways to measure time by yourself. Time is very interesting. Here we see the face of an analog clock. Right, so an analog clock is a clock with a long hand and a short hand. Another way to talk about the long hand would be to call it the minute hand. And another way to talk about the short hand would be to call it the hour hand. Well done. I knew I could hear you say that because you guys know this. You know this. We also can see how the minutes are marked out around the face of this clock, and you can see between the 12 and the 1 there we've marked out 5, so we can skip count in 5s around the clock, as you can see there. Alright, so, and then when we get to the top there, we write 00. Now 00 means o'clock in digital time. So we can see it is 60 when we count around the clocks, but when we get to the top we say 00 because it will be the beginning of a new hour. Now, there is something that they do with a clock that helps us a little bit if we look at it more carefully. I'm just going to take the others off now so that I can show you just one at a time. So here we have it. At the top of this clock, we have the 12. You can see another word for 12 is o'clock. And yet another word for o'clock is 00. Right? Over here, we have the past side of the clock. So, on the 3, instead of saying 3, instead of saying 15 for the minutes, when the long hand is on the 3, this has to do with where the long hand points, okay? On the past side, on the 3, we call it quarter past. There you can see. We did a quarter of the clock right there, and it's called quarter past. At the bottom, we've taught you half past before. There we see, instead of the 6, we call it half past. And another way of saying half past is 30, because that's where we've counted up to 30 minutes. When we go up another quarter to the 9, we call it quarter to. There you see. So we have divided our clock into 4 different sections. O'clock, half past, quarter to, and quarter past. That is how we actually cut the clock into 4 equal parts. Right now, I want to show you a cool trick, okay? You can put both your arms up like this, and then we say o'clock. You can point to the left side like this, in the direction where the 3 is, and we call it quarter past. At the bottom we say half past. To the right we say quarter to, and at the top we say o'clock. Let's go one more time. Quarter past, half past, quarter to, o'clock. Another time. Quarter past, half past, quarter to, o'clock. You should try this. This is a really cool thing to do, and it helps me to read the time as well. Sometimes time can be a little bit complicated. Right, so now let's have a look at the different times in analog and in digital. Now, I've got an o'clock time here for you to see. 11 o'clock. Can you see that? Now, if I open this one up, you are going to see the 11 again, and instead of o'clock, you'll see the 00 there. Can you see that? 11. There's the 11, and the 2 zeros indicates where the long hand is pointing. When the long hand points up in digital time, we call it 00. Good. So that's how we write 11 in digital. That's how we write it in analog. Now, because you guys already know half past, I'm going to quickly show you the half past as well. Right, so as you know, when we go down from the 12 on the past side, what do we get to? We get to the 6. The 6 is where we've counted up to 30 around the clock. And the special way of saying 30 is half past. So we call it half past. How many hours do we have? We have 7 hours. We do not have the 8th hour yet because we're still going to eat. So we are calling this half past 7. And you can see there the hour hand is right in the middle of the 7 and the 8. When you write the digital time, remember only after the dots we write the minutes. So what do we write first? We write the hours that we have first. So that's going to be the 7 first. And then we don't say half past when we do digital time, but we say the minutes. That's why we call it 7:30. Over here, I've got a lovely, lovely little clock here that will show you quarter past. So have a look there. You see we had o'clock at the top. At the 3 we had quarter past. Now, we call, instead of saying 15 on the 3, we say quarter past 4. Can you see there? The hour hand have ever so slightly moved past the 4 because it's only gone from there to there, right? And that in all, that is 15 minutes. Now think, what will you see first for the digital time for this, right? Think about the digital time now. First, in the digital time, we first write the hour, right? So what is the hours that we have? The hours that we have is 4. We have 4 hours. See, 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 hours. That's what we have. We are not at the 5th hour. So we will say at the bottom here, 4. And then instead of saying quarter past on the 3, we call it 15. Because it's got to do with the minutes that we count around the clock. This has literally gone down 15 minutes. So we call it 4:15. Now quarter to is a nice one also. As you can see here, This clock has got a hand pointing to the 9, right? So when it points to the 9, remember when we did the quarter past, half past, quarter to thing? I told you when it points to the 9, we say, and look there, quarter to. The green side is the to side of the clock. We say quarter to, right? So what do we say? Now it's like saying, I'm going to school. You don't saying, I'm going to home because you're coming from home, right? So we can't say quarter to 2 because now we're not going to 2, we're going to 3. So for quarter to, we say the analog time. Quarter to, where are we going to? We're going to the 3. Okay, quarter to 3. But now, look at the digital time. That's going to be interesting. I want to see if you can guess what it should be. What are the hours that we have? That's the question that we ask for digital time. How many hours do we have? We have 1, 2 hours. Are we at the 3rd hour? No. Digital time is strict about that. Okay? It will not let us call out the next hour unless we literally at that hour already. So now look what it says. Instead of quarter to 3, digital time says we have 2 hours. And what do we have with those 2 hours? 45 minutes. So the digital time for quarter to 3 is 2:45. Don't get sad. Don't get mad. It's not that hard. You're going to get used to it. We will revise and do until you all understand it nicely. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye for now.